So how are you oppressed exactly?
Well, I had an example that was like pretty severe compared to most of it, but like things like that happen, like not just to me, that things like that happen with a lot of people a lot, like especially like CS majors, or engineering majors, it happens a lot with, or things like I know exactly how my car works. Like I know that this summer my serpentine belt pulled through 2 of the pulleys because the car that I have is like cheap and they make them out of plastic, which they shouldn't because most are metal. Like I know all this shit, so I can get on the phone and as soon as they hear my voice, it's an extra $1,000. Like it always is. Like I've never, like I literally, I'll bargain and bargain and bargain and bargain. I've seen guys do it. They'll get whatever I'm asking for like half the price. You know, stuff like that.
Wait, hot take. I know, we're going to wrap soon, guys. Hot take. Men are more oppressed than women.
Yes.
You could make a good argument for it.
There are ways in which
War,
men are
pretty
oppressed,
big one.
and I think those are also due to the patriarchy. Like in a society, you said this is a society built by men. So wouldn't you think a society built by men, would the consequences of that would be kind of men's fault? And I'm not saying that there aren't ways that
it's
men
not
are
clear to me
oppressed.
if it's their fault because they are men. Like,
It's on no individual.
A stronger argument to be made would be people in positions of power, regardless of their gender. It's not because they're
men. Look
men.
at who's in power. Look at who's been in power for the last 1,000,000 years.
Okay, and?
There's a hyperbole. It's men.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we were talking about earlier with, like, the essay stuff in schools and, like, women essaying. That's for instance, a position of power that women usually aren't in over someone else. In that position of power, they used it. So it's nothing about men's inherent, like, drive to hurt people or themselves. It's about when you're put in that position of power, some people use it poorly, and some people don't even know that they are.
That's cool, but I think men are more oppressed than women. What do you think about that?
Agree to disagree? I can tell you more, but like I gave out my point, and you can respond to that, or you can repeat your original statement.
Okay, so I guess I can back this up a little bit. So I think all feminist arguments just about oppression are dead on arrival because, and this, all of women's collective grievances fall flat in the face of just one. There's many male grievances, but there's one in particular that I think absolutely dwarfs any and all of women's collective grievances, and that is forced military conscription. You can add up all of women's grievances together, and in my view, they do not. I know it's hard to make comparisons and it's hard to compare and contrast. Forced military conscription is worse than all of women's collective grievances. You can whine about it all you want, but I would say the suffering that men have exclusively experienced during warfare throughout all of human history is orders of magnitude greater than, as I've said, all of women's collective grievances, supposed and real.
When was the last draft?
When is the last? Well, the last draft was in the Vietnam War. And
then before that, it was World War II, right?
When did women get?
Oh no, it
when
was.
When did women get the right to vote?
White women or which?
All
women.
All women.
Super late. I forget the exact year, but it was white women like 50 years before everyone else, or before the last.
Is that
group.
true?
Yeah.
I'd like a fact check on.
Do you want me to do it?
On that. In any case, women's suffrage 1920, but women frequently.
Same for men.
Right, but you're saying when was the last? Here, let's talk about it. The Ukraine war. We can talk about the Ukraine war. So there's currently 2 major ongoing military conflicts in the world. We might be on the verge of World War III.
Yep.
So, and in the event that happens, women are not subject to military conscription. You want to talk about inequality? Y'all aren't subject to forced military conscription. You don't have to register for the selective service. The last time there was a draft was in Vietnam, and I know you want to use that as when was the last time there was a draft. It's actually very dismissive because here's a very big point.
Fear?
Hold on. what? Hold on. I want to go into the fear thing, but there are men that would be alive today had they not been drafted. And there are men that are alive today that were drafted. Vietnam, Korea, World War II. I mean, there's very few World War II vets left, but so there are men who would have been alive today, right now. They could have been in this room that aren't alive because they were drafted in Vietnam. And then there's men that did get drafted in Vietnam and they have like major PTSD, serious issues,
veterans
casualties
have
of
it hard.
war, they've lost limbs, serious issues. So yes, the ramifications of forced military conscription are the negative consequences of that are alive today in men.
I'm gonna say something, and you're probably gonna be like, "That's crazy."
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Unlikely.
So there's ways to get out of the draft, right? I would much rather cut a toe off than be a woman, than to have to deal with what women deal with. You can skip the draft if you have any shit wrong with you. I would cut a fucking hand off. I'd cut a
you
foot
wouldn't.
off.
Okay. I've never heard that argument when it comes to the draft.
Like, you
but
could just
Pro
not do it.
draft dodger.
wait, so
Really?
what?
Yeah.
What were you? But what were
I'm
you saying about the
anti-draft.
fear? What were you saying about the
Well,
fear?
like,
what did you mean when you said fear?
Well, it seems like you think that you're more oppressed than me. You know, would you say that's true? It's okay if it is. You know,
Am I
and so if
more
it's just
oppressed
that one
than you?
thing, when it's just that one thing, it's like it's kind of unlikely that it will. And if it does happen, that fucking sucks, and you will have it harder than me.
I actually do. I mean, I'm not of an age that I mean, they could always expand the draft in the scenario of some catastrophic world war. You know, they could extend the age, but I did have to register for the selective service. Men who don't face consequences. You can lose certain benefits as a man that doesn't apply to women. So, I mean,
Also, that's the consequence of being physically stronger, you know? Like, you're able to protect yourself in ways that I can't protect myself, and as a consequence of that...
well,
that's
yeah,
not
but
good.
if
And it's not your fault.
you're a feminist, you should be in favor of gender equality, so women should be subject to military conscription.
one
The
should be
consequence
subject
of
to
being
military.
able to birth a baby would make this, so you could make that argument.
Yeah.
But hold on.
Wait, what's your point?
No, but
Take his point and just go with it.
You can't blame men for being bigger and saying that's why you got to go to war,
Well,
even though
I
that's
mean,
what we've
but
kind of
also
done.
I'm not
not
mad
like
at you
men are-
about childbirth.
I mean,
I'm not
a
mad
lot
at
of
you at
women
all.
are saying like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Right, but-
Also, when you're going to war, you're not like fist fighting either.
Yeah.
right,
So
and
it's like-
women could be drafted into like support roles, even if you're
That's
not.
what happens when you take away abortion rights. You're drafted into a support role. If you have if you have like a kid that you didn't want, that you were forced to have, you're drafted into a support role.
No, but the state. Hold on. The state is not forcing you to have sex, and if you want to get an abortion,
But some people get forced to have sex.
okay. But you do realize most. If I concede that
not a
some
perfect
abortions are the result of rape, will you concede that most 99% of abortions are because the woman can't financially support the kid, or it's like
Yeah.
the sex was consensual that led to her getting an abortion?
Yeah.
Okay, so like you're making the argument of from like the what's it called?
An abortion is also like a physical procedure. So I'm doing the same thing. If I cut my toe off, that's a physical procedure to get out of this draft. It's not a perfect comparison, and it's funny to say these things because they're kind of ridiculous. But I think there is a little bit of validity there
Validity to what?
to like comparing these two things.
What two things?
The draft to anything else I've compared it to.
Well, it's not even just the draft. It's actually warfare in and of itself is
Yeah.
like something that throughout all of human history, I know that women can now enter the military,
Well, now it's
but it's like something that's pretty much exclusively been within the realms of men. And military, there's no glory in like there. I mean, I guess there for some people they get some sort of glory from it, but like warfare is brutal in ways that you cannot imagine.
Insane.
Yeah.
And also, like, can I just ask you a question? What were the dates of World War One? Do you know?
I know like a range.
Sure. Tell me the range.
Like
You don't have to tell like just year, just the year. I'm not asking for like date or month.
early 40s.
No, World War One.
Oh,
World War One. Yeah.
1910, 1912, somewhere around there.
To what?
I don't know how long it lasted. I think 10
Okay.
years? I don't know.
1914 to 1918 was World War One. What about World War Two?
Like 1940 something.
To when?
That one lasted a good like 6 years. I think.
Do you want to give a range or?
Like between like it stopped at it was
Okay,
capped at 50.
So it was 1939 to 1945.
Yeah, that's 6.
But I feel, okay, it's like if you don't even know when the two most catastrophic events in human history occurred, I almost feel like you don't have the requisite knowledge to assert anything about the ways in which women are oppressed as compared to men.